So moving on a little bit here, I know I kind of talked abstractly about the care matters policy. This is the solution for somebody named George, but when we start looking at the plan that we're putting together, we have to have an illustration, right? Well, this is the illustration that the numbers that I was using was based off of. So if you have somebody like George walk into your office, this is what we will be able to prepare for you at Nationwide to be able to illustrate through that case for you. And the first thing that really comes to mind when I see this initial illustration are the words on here, cash indemnity. Now, if you've worked with Nationwide or if somebody's been on your call before, you've probably heard the term cash indemnity before because that's something that we're really, really proud to offer here at Nationwide. Cash indemnity long-term care benefits are extremely flexible for your client. Your client can use that money in any way they wish once they qualify for their long-term care plan. So it's not needed to have any bills or receipts in order for your client to use their money. Essentially, we're not checking up on them to make sure that they're spending their money on quote unquote qualified expenses. We trust them. We think that they're going to make the right decisions for themselves during that time, and we just purely want to give them the money to be able to make that plan happen. So cash indemnity is the most flexible type of long-term care benefit. No bills, no receipts. You can use it for things like home modification. You can use it for things like having a daughter-in-law come in and take care of you, once or twice a week, giving her some money for that. Here in Columbus, Ohio, which I'm sure it's very similar to where you are, it snows a lot here during the wintertime. If your client wanted to use their cash indemnity long-term care benefit to have their neighbor boy come over and shovel their sidewalk, they could do that as well. If they don't use their money, they can put it in the bank and save it for later. So just know that when you're purchasing for your client's Care Matters 2 plan, you're not just purchasing this money that's shown, on the screen here. You're also purchasing the flexibility of usage for that. Okay. When we move forward here, you'll be able to see in the illustration when we go to the tabular detail page. This is where we really start seeing the power of the money that's going into this policy. Now, when I first saw these illustrations, this was a little bit daunting, right? There's a lot of numbers on here. There's a lot going on, but simply just read through the headers. It explains everything really nicely to you. But what I want to highlight on is you see this age here. The age, as you go down and down and down, the total benefit for LTC goes up and up and up here. And the reason why that happens is because on George's policy, we've added that 5% inflation rider on. And so we essentially see here that by age 79 into age 80, if he takes long-term care at that point, he's going to be able to access over $1 million worth of LTC. If he needs it earlier, you see the amount here. If he needs it later, you see the amount here. That's money that will be going directly into his household during that time period. So, if he has a spouse that's uninsurable, if he has an adult child that needs a little bit of extra help, we once again don't care how that money gets spent. That's money that he could use or he could put in the bank. Whatever he chooses to do with that $1 million is his. And so that's a really, really powerful story. And sometimes an objection I get is, actually, this kind of looks too good to be true, right? How's Nationwide leveraging this money? At that point, he's put in about $126,000. He's getting over $1 million worth of LTC benefit. How are we doing that? Well, it's actually really easy and transparent to see. If we look at this LTC, how it works page, we see your client putting in a total premium of this amount of money, and we see that purchases a death benefit component. Pretty small death benefit component, right? It purchased $996. That is very similar to what you might see on a permanent life insurance policy. That permanent life insurance policy is a dollar for dollar death benefit plus long-term care that you can accelerate down. Your client will be purchasing that as well within this Care Matters policy, but you see it's a smaller pool of money. And because we don't have to have that huge death benefit tied to a huge amount of long-term care in that second pool, we're able to get more money out of the policy for LTC only. This policy is primarily designed for LTC. The death benefit component is secondary, so we want to be able to use more of your client's money for purchasing LTC, and the structure of the policy helps us to do that. Your clients will purchase a small death benefit that gets this happening, but it could help explain the way that we're getting this much leverage out of the policy. So your client will accelerate down that first pool, they'll accelerate down that second pool, and what they will actually see though is if age 80 is when they take it, they'll just see a seamless stream of $12,965 coming out of the policy, which over 6 years equals a total of over $1 million you see at age 80. So that's how the policy works, and sometimes it's just beneficial to see it broken out like this to see how we can really, get this much money out of a single policy. It does sit on a life insurance chassis, so it is out of core life insurance, but it's been maximized and optimized to be able to take the most LTC out as possible, because for this client, that's the main focus. You will see though that even if your client uses, let's say, all $1 million of their money, they get all of that out within 6 years, their beneficiaries will still be left with a residual death benefit of $14,399. And that in itself is income tax free, and it's maybe a nice little final expense policy, something to pay off any, help with the funeral, pay off any last little obligations, things like that. So that is also included on this policy. So as you can see here, Care Matters has a lot going on within it that really no matter what happens to your client in basic, various life stages, they're not going to have that kind of use it or lose it feeling that we used to get with traditional LTC. All right. Jimmy, do you have anything that you'd like to add about Care Matters on this screen here?
Not on this screen here. And if you don't have this handy, I can pop it up here in a second. Do you have that sheet that shows the QR code for the long-term care cost estimator by any chance?
Yeah.
You are all over that. Yeah, if you could talk a little bit about that, I think that'll be helpful.
Yeah. 1 second here. Can you guys see it? Yeah.
No, I just see the find the right fit. I don't know why it's not.
Yeah, I have it up here.
So anyway, well, Kelsey is pulling this up. So first off, that was a great presentation about Care Matters. So, we talk a lot about the products, sales ideas, but I think a great resource that we have, oh, perfect, here it is this long-term care cost estimator. So I think some of you might be familiar with our Retirement Institute, and they can put together this long-term care and medical projection of what you might need to pay in the future. But we also have this app right here that Kelsey can talk just a little bit about.
Yeah, so the app that we have currently is really cool. It's a way to be able to compare state and national cost average for LTC. So you would download this app on your phone and you'd be able to compare different costs, not only between different geographic regions. So say, for instance, the difference between here and in Chicago, you'd also be able to see and project out how much your individual clients will need in the future. So it's not just a geographic projection of what's happening in 2019 with costs, but all the way through when your client is expected to need LTC. And when we first got this, I was kind of wondering about real-life applications of using this tool. It's a tool that's on your phone. When are you going to be able to use it? Well, I actually got a really good idea when I was standing in line last winter at the grocery store, because as again, I've been complaining about it. I really don't like cold weather that much. And so it was in the winter and it was dark at 4:30. And so I was a little bit, in a bad mood. And so I was standing in line at the grocery store and I struck up a conversation with a lady next to me in line. She was a little bit older lady, maybe getting close to retirement. I wasn't quite sure. I didn't really pay attention, to be honest, but we got to talking about the cold weather, as is a very popular conversation in cold weather climates, right? So we got to talking about the weather, and I was kind of grumbling about how cold it was. And the lady said, "Oh, honey, I can't wait to move to Texas. I have family in Texas, I am so excited to get out of this cold weather, and that's where I'm planning on retiring. And so I got to thinking, if I was a WFG advisor, I could very easily have pulled out my phone and just done a really quick comparison to see the different costs between Columbus, Ohio, and let's say metro area in Texas. And very quickly, in the time that it took me in that shopping line, I could have maybe said, oh wow, it looks like even the healthcare costs are less there. You definitely get down there as soon as you can. And that lady would have been like, what are you talking about? How do you know that? And so then that would have been a great intro for me to be able to start talking to her about what I do, about my mission of helping people and getting them protected for things like long-term care and future health care costs. And I could have easily asked for her email during that time period and said, hey, if you're interested in this, just all you have to do is give me your email and we can set up a follow-up meeting to go over your individual results. And so just in that, 5 minutes while I was waiting in line, kind of grumpy, I could have very easily gotten a conversation started about long-term care and healthcare, and maybe even gotten a follow-up appointment with somebody who is interested in learning more about this for herself. So that's kind of a cool way that I thought that we could apply this, is to just be ready to generate that report very quickly at any time by downloading the app straight to your phone.
Thanks, Kelsey. Do you think maybe you can pull up that web version at the bottom just to show them how easy it is? Like, it seriously takes 5 seconds to pull up the report. Awesome. Pressure's on now that I said that it takes 5 seconds.
I know. Are you guys counting?
I meant 5 seconds once it gets up there.
Oh no. Looks like my internet being a little slow here. Do you want the online version, Jimmy, or is this what you wanted?
I don't care. However you can pull it up just to show them what it looks like.
Okay.
While Kelsey's getting this pulled up and she has the QR code on the screen, I think you should be able to, if you want to, just take out your phone and scan that QR code, and it'll take you to the App Store where you can download it. Take note of that, the code too. You're going to have to type in NW 2019 when you download it, but it's a pretty cool tool, and it's very user friendly. You're only typing in a few different inputs there, and it's going to spit you out the report real quick. The healthcare cost assessment that our retirement institute will run, that I think some of you have used, that just gives a little bit more detail, but that takes us sending in a report, waiting a couple of days. This you can just do right away, and Kelsey's got it up here.
Yeah, so if you look here, you can compare the different costs between like Ohio state averages by just clicking the state, and also I just picked Texas, that's the example I use. You can also very quickly project the future costs. So if you have somebody who says, I'm expecting to need LTC in about 20 years, you'll be able to quickly see here, just on this online version, about how much to expect. So I actually didn't know this, but it is slightly projected to be less expensive in Texas than the state average region. If we actually pull up though, we can see not just a state average, but if I wanted to know between like Columbus, Ohio, and maybe I had family in Houston, I could compare those two things very easily as well. So it's very, very personalized, even on this scale right here. You can see the differences between informal care, home care, assisted living, and nursing home care. Now, of course, with nationwide LTC, you do not have to, be limited to an assisted living or nursing home. But if medically necessary, you're probably going to want your clients to be prepared for that, right? If they need that 24/7 round-the-clock care, you want them to have access to that as well. So we can also generate a report up here very easily. So all you have to do is you would put in your name, firm, email and phone number, and you can get that report generated and be able to get that customized for the client. All right. So I also wanted to show you guys one more thing before my time's up here. And that thing that I was going to show you is actually up on the screen earlier. And it's a piece that we have here at Nationwide that is different client profiles. So we already went over how to notice that Henry that may walk into your office, may walk into the room with you, or maybe standing next to you in line at the grocery store. But there are a lot of different places that Care Matters could be a fit for various people, depending on where they are in their lives and what their financial picture looks like. So we put together the sales piece that has 4 different client profiles on here that could be a good fit. And it gives you the concerns, and then also gives you the ways to fund the policy very, very easily to see. So we just want to provide you with as many takeaways as possible to be able to start noticing these people, to be able to start thinking creatively. I personally think that creativity in the financial industry, the financial services industry, is a highly underrated trait, because the more creative that you can be, the more likely I think you are to be able to help your clients to be able to accomplish various goals. So take a look here. It's not just money with your clients that have cash on hand, not just clients who have that discretionary income. We also have different ways where we can position things like IRAs or annuities. We have those, long-term payment schedules. We have ways that you can put lump sums in. Start thinking about empty nesters. If you have people that you know who may have a child graduating from high school or college and are moving out, they may be downsizing their home. So instead of having a huge home, they sell that home to purchase a smaller home. They'll have some additional money outside of that. Think about recent inheritances. All of this is just to say, the more in tune you can be with your clients and different life events, the more likely you're going to be able to help them to address their potential needs and to be able to offer a solution. And with that, I have concluded my portion. Jimmy, is there anything else you'd like to add to anything that we went over today?
No, I think that was fantastic. I like how you gave us some actionable items. I love this piece that you have right here that kind of shows us exactly what we should be looking for a Care Matters sale. I know we have that Angela wanted a few minutes at the end, but looks like we probably have a few minutes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, no, go ahead and finish what you've got to do. I just want to let you know I'm out here, and I know we still have a couple minutes if there are any questions or anything you wanted to sum up with.
Yeah, absolutely. I figured let's give it a couple minutes for questions now, if anybody has any. If not, I can wrap up. But before I do that, does anybody have any questions on anything that Kelsey covered, anything that I touched on in the beginning, or maybe a question that you've just been waiting to ask?
Hey, Jimmy, I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about how they get paid for these sales? Are these pretty quick turnarounds?
Oh, yeah. So one of the good parts about Care Matters, I know that underwriting is everybody's favorite part of writing life insurance, right? So with Care Matters, in the state of Illinois and in most states other than California, this is only going to be like a 45-minute to hour-long phone interview. So it's going to be no blood test, no urine specimen, no doctor's record. We're going to do that phone interview, and then in a couple of days, this is going to be approved or it's not going to be approved. So, I talked earlier about the end of the month. If you need something to hit quick, this is fantastic. As soon as the client completes the phone interview, we're going to have an offer there in a couple of days. Good question, Kelsey. Anybody else? Other than Kelsey's planted question that points out another benefit of Care Matters. All right. Well, with that, we will wrap it up. Then I'll give you 10 minutes back. Kelsey, I want to thank you. You did a fantastic job. Everybody else, you know, I want to thank everybody for a great 2019. It's crazy that it's December already. Hopefully we can keep the momentum going into 2020. I think there's a lot of good things to look forward to. You know, we got the new products coming out. We got more people on board to help us out. We got a good team in place that I think can really help keeping this growing for, you know, another consecutive year. So like I said at the beginning, and I say every time, if anybody ever has any questions, feel free and give me a call. I want to make sure you have everything you need.